Revelation 2838. From the 5th and the 6th of August 1943. Knowing about the beginning of uranium and the final goal. People lack the knowledge of the primordial beginning and the final goal of all that is, and therefore they do not live their earthly life consciously. But no human being can say that this knowledge was never imparted to him, even if not in detail. At least the belief in a deity was suggested to them, whose pleasure they should gain through their way of life. This was always held up to them with regard to the effects in the kingdom of the beyond. Thus it was always the prerequisite for life after the death of the body, and the human being could then take a position on it according to his will. As soon as he allows this faith to become strong, he penetrates ever deeper into knowledge. That is, he is mentally instructed by the knowing beings in the spiritual kingdom in accordance with divine will, the meaning and purpose of the works of creation, and thus also of the human being is revealingly presented to him. The consciousness of responsibility is awakened in him, and of his own free will he now tries to comply with divine will. He changes into love, and thus he now fulfills his actual task on earth. But people of the present time are not accessible to such knowledge. They regard their earthly life as a purely external matter which does not entail any future responsibility, and thus they will never make an effort to find an explanation for the infinitely long earthly path of life. They will only ever pay attention to purely earthly events and never think about why God has given his approval to an activity which makes countless people responsible. Only the meaning and purpose of earthly life, thus a task connected with it, can justify what is happening in the world, what suffering and misery is pouring out on people, and what cruelties are taking place. But never can people justify themselves who themselves offer their hand to this and increase the evil. He who knows about the primordial beginning and the final goal also knows that humanity is still very far from the final goal, and he therefore also knows that great suffering is still a possibility to reach the goal. And yet, people's conduct which causes such suffering to their fellow human beings cannot be approved of. For people's will is bad, only the effect of their bad will is directed by God in such a way that the human being can still derive a spiritual advantage from it, as soon as he feels prompted to flee to him and desires help from him. If people would pay attention to the thoughts arising in them about the purpose and goal of earthly life, if they would desire answers to such questions and quietly listen within to what they receive as an answer in their thoughts, they would also recognize in every world event a means to reach the final goal set for them. But unbelief about the soul's continuation of life after death is so widespread that people only see the purpose and goal of earthly life in general, and as long as they only have this purely earthly view they will find world events incomprehensible because they have a completely opposite effect. Thus they completely contradict the goal they have set for themselves. And this is blindness of spirit, this is short-sightedness, because they regard that as an end in itself which is only a means to an end. This is an ignorance which has a highly detrimental effect because the actual purpose of earthly existence is not taken into account, thus it is not striven for either. And again, it is difficult to guide people into this knowledge as long as they don't believe in life after death, as long as they don't believe that earthly life is only a preliminary stage for actual life, a school they have to attend in order to be admitted into the kingdom where actual life begins. They must first gain this faith if they want to understand the suffering and misery, the affliction and distress that is currently taking place on earth. Amen.